Today, COVID-positive migrant asylum seekers are being released into the United States. The Biden administration reacts to Texas dropping their mask mandate and more limits on the Democrats' $1,400 stimulus bill. We've got a lot coming up, and it starts right now. Welcome to the news and why it matters. I'm Sarah Gonzalez, today joined by the one and only Glenn Beck, who needs no introduction, but I'll do it anyway. I'll do it anyway.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. You're looking good. I like your T-shirt.
Thank you.
Chad Prather, 2022.
Yes, Chad Prather, 2022.
Yeah, for
Also
governor
joined
of
by
Texas.
Yeah,
the future
why
governor
not?
of Texas.
Right.
As Kinky Friedman said, how hard can it be?
Well, I wonder what he'd say now.
Yeah.
Not so sure.
You know, I don't think it would be that hard. I really don't. I think if you just had a set of principles on you and a set of something else on you, just to stay the course, I think our problems are really not that hard to solve.
Well, Sam Houston said, and I'm paraphrasing, the best thing for government to do is just to stay out of the way.
Yeah.
Just don't get involved.
I mean, it's amazing. Tonight on the special that I have at 9 o'clock on the Glenn Beck special in the Blaze, we go through the financial sector and what they're doing now for the Great Reset. It's horrifying. But in a nutshell, it's the exact opposite of what Ronald Reagan did. Ronald Reagan said, let the little guy alone. Leave him alone, and he's going to create all kinds of things. This is the absolute reverse. Shackle the little guy and keep the money and all of the power up at the top between the banks, the big businesses, and the government. Just circulate there, because they'll create a new world. Misery is coming for everybody who's not in these big corporations or won't play ball with the Great Reset.
All right, so headlines of the day. Migrants who have traveled to the United States and claimed asylum are being released into the general population, even if they test positive for COVID. So, of course, we saw the Biden administration reverse what the Trump administration had started, which was if you are claiming asylum, you wait.
Wait. Even if they have COVID?
Yeah, said like they can go to a test.
Isn't everybody
to a hospital and get
pissed
tested?
at the governor of Texas for saying no more masks? You don't have to wear masks?
Yeah, I mean, if you were being consistent, we would hear some of the left-wing people say anything about this, right? So the Trump administration had said, okay, asylum seekers need to wait in Mexico. The Biden administration reversed that and said, no, it's fine. We'll just give you a pass that says when your court date is to be, and we're just going to trust that you guys show up. I'm sure that you will. So they are getting tested for COVID, and they are turning up with positive tests, being released. It's like, for instance, in the city of Brownsville, more than 6% of migrants who have only been tested, not 6% of migrants, but just 6% who have been tested, have tested positive. All of these people just released with a little note that says, we trust that you're going to show up in court. And Glenn, that was kind of going to be my question is, why aren't we seeing outrage from the left who say that they're so scared of COVID? It's all political theater.
It's all theater. All the world is but a stage, and we are merely its players. It is so remarkable to see, and you will see, mark my words, in the next year, it could be in the next 6 months, it could be in the next 18 months. But within that time period, you will see the left and the right all of a sudden come together. You are going to see those people who have been screaming at conservatives all of a sudden realize, wait a minute, I have a lot in common with those guys, and we're going to find ourselves in really weird situations because it's not about anything. It's not about Marxism. I thought it was. I wrote a book on arguing with socialism. I was wrong. It's not about Marxism. They are useful idiots. It's not about COVID or the masks. It's about division. It's not about climate change or social justice. All of that is a game. So we are focused on that, and we're not seeing the Great Reset, where an oligarchy is being built, a new world order is being built. And we got to stop worrying about all of those things. Once people realize this, you're going to start to see people on the left go, wait a minute. No, that's not what I was asking for. You'll see already, you see Antifa saying, no, we don't need Joe Biden. He's not our guy. He's not our guy. When climate change activists see this, this great reset and see who's making money on this, and it is actually not about climate change at all, they're going to be pissed. Because some people actually believe in something. Yeah. Nobody up at the top does.
Well, they've been radicalized for years and years to believe it, right? I mean, there are a lot of people who think that they're going to die in 9 years.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what they've been hearing.
Oh, yeah. And so what happens when they realize China is pumping toxins in like nobody's business? They're building more, they built a third more coal plants themselves than the entire world combined in the last year. They're not living by any accords for climate change because they promise super pinky swear that they're going to do it in 2050. That's what?
We're already dead then, according to the left.
Yeah. And you know, for years I have heard bankers, business people, globalists say China is the model for the future. It is. It is. And it's here. And you're going to feel it in the next 6 months to a year, but it's already here. It's not coming. It's here. It just hasn't been turned on yet.
We saw the day after September 11th that nothing brings people together quicker than a common enemy. And what's going to happen is people are going to get tired of being screwed. And they're going to figure out who's doing the screwing. Well, and that's when they're going to push back.
They already are. Look, the reason why all of this is happening is because the old systems don't work anymore. And I don't mean the Constitution. I mean the way we work. It's this antiquated system. Everything is like that. The old systems. You imagine going back to the bell system now and to the old phone system. You know, I watch Jerry Seinfeld and he pulls out the big antenna out and I'm like, oh my gosh, you remember those days? Everything is antiquated and outdated. So the whole world is changing. The dollar is going to collapse because it's outdated, not usable, and over printed. So these companies are looking, and the governments are looking for, how do we keep the people we've just connected all around the world? They can watch revolutions happen, and then they can connect with each other and say, our government's doing the same damn thing, and they can prove it to one another. We got to keep those guys busy and separated. Otherwise, they're going to come for us because they never got the bailout in 2008. They never got the COVID bailout. The banks did. The Fed and the Treasury gave all of that money. The Treasury gives it to the Fed. The Fed gives it to the big banks. Well, who is the Fed? The 5 biggest banks in America. And then they take that money, and they invest it in assets, which is Wall Street. Where's that money? Big businesses. So our children's lives are being destroyed. And all of that money is not going to you, me, Democrat, Republican, liberal, socialist, doesn't matter. It's not going to you. It's going to them. And when Americans and the rest of the world figure this out, they better have a Chinese security force available to track and to subdue everyone, because they're not going to take it. They're not going to take it.
So it is your opinion that the people at the top are purposely prolonging how bad COVID looks to the American population. Just like, look at what's going on at this hand, so you're not watching this hand.
Train you. And the same with the money. I mean, look at the dollar. We all know the dollar is going to die. I mean, can we agree with that? There's no way you can print this kind of money. The dollar is going to die. All of our allies know it. They're all slowly dumping the dollar. Everybody's talking about new SDRs and basket of currencies and everything else. It's going to die. So what are they doing right now? The dollar is in a hospice, and they're giving the dollar, they're giving the people, they're giving them just a little shot of morphine. They're pushing money into the system to try to placate us, keep us okay, you're okay, you're okay. And eventually, they're going to push too much morphine into the system, and it will kill it. But don't worry, heaven's on the other side. Their new utopia is on the other side. We're being drugged by all kinds of things right now to try to, and distracted by fighting with each other. They're not fighting with each other. Seems like the Democrats and the Republicans actually pass almost the same damn thing. All of the big banks, all of the big businesses, they all seem to be fine with what the Biden administration is wanting to do. The stock market went up.
Yeah.
The stock market went up with this. None of it makes sense because they're all in. They're all fine. We're the ones being set against one another and arguing. And we're missing that the biggest heist in human history is happening right now.
Well, hell, don't say us. I'm about to be governor. I'm in with them.
You better hurry up and get in
stupid.
while you
I got a
can.
2-year plan. I don't know what you're talking about.
Are you seriously going to run?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Heck yeah.
I'll
Why
support
not?
you.
Thank you. I've got the intestinal fortitude to go out there and be just that stupid. I'm going to do it.
Yeah, no, but it's not a joke, right?
No.
I'm going to do it.
No.
I'm telling you, if nothing else, we stir this conversation up, and somebody, as you said, with convictions and with principles, who's willing to go in there. And I mean, what do you got to lose? I mean, my skeletons are laying all over the yard. I'm not too worried about all of that stuff. So anybody that knows me knows I'm crazy already. But I'm serious about this because I love this state, and I think it's being absolutely dictated to in a terrible way.
I tell you, well, the thing I was really upset about with the governor yesterday here in Texas is he gives a speech and he says, now the people of Texas are prepared and they know what to do and they can take care of themselves. Dude, I've been able to take care of myself the whole time, and so have my neighbors, and we'll help each other. Our churches, can work together. We can do this. Who the hell do you think you are telling us that we're not prepared? You weren't prepared.
Right.
By the way, it's odd that just a few days after you weren't prepared for a storm, you all of a sudden come out and say, I'm going to relinquish all this hardship on the people of Texas because, they weren't prepared before, but they are now because of our great leadership.
Let me tell you what people in Texas aren't prepared for. They're going to be praising and applauding Greg Abbott with that announcement, but then their power bill is going to show up for this month, and they're from February.
Explain, because people don't have power bills like we have. It's a really weird thing. You can choose to be on this sliding scale, which is like, don't do it. That's really.
Folks start getting these $17,000 power bills. And
explain what that is.
Well, it's what's going to happen. So when you have that kind of usage, that all of a sudden, and now somebody else has got to carry that load. A lot of the cities in Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth, for instance, they're deregulated. You can choose to be with anybody you want to be with. You're not on a co-op. Some of our cities, like, say, San Antonio and Lubbock, they're on a co-op. They have no choice. So you get on these things, and basically it's carte blanche. They can do anything they want to do in that regard.
And I mean, you sign your name to it.
You sign your name to it. You agree to the contract, and that's what's going to happen.
You can buy it at a flat rate. You can say, I'm going to pay this rate, and you can negotiate with different power companies. It's actually the free market-ish, as much as it is anywhere else in America. The problem is that people say, I want it really cheap. And so with that comes risk. Okay, you'll get it really cheap, but if there's huge demand, you're going to pay an eye-bleed cost. And that's why the people who chose that are going to get a bill for $17,000 for the month.
For the month of February.
Yeah.
It's going to be a bad deal.
So we're talking about Texas. Let's get into that after the break, because I want to play the Biden administration's response to Greg Abbott, and then also Mississippi, who also rolled back their restrictions. But first, we want to thank our sponsor, ExpressVPN. So if you're watching this program, a lot of you supported Trump. You voted for Trump, right? Well, in case you haven't noticed by everything that mostly Glenn has been talking about this entire time, the left is coming for you. Okay, they're going to continue their campaign of censorship, repression, cancel culture until every last one of us has been crushed by them.
Watch tonight.
Yeah, please.
Watch tonight.
And it's at 9 Eastern?
9 Eastern.
9 Eastern, 8 Central. Make sure that you tune into that. So they're backed by the media, some of the largest companies in the world. Again, as Glenn has said, they have formed this alliance to track, censor, and spy on you. That is why you need ExpressVPN, all right? ExpressVPN, everything you search for, watch, or click online can be tracked by these big tech companies, but ExpressVPN will make sure that they are not able to do that. They encrypt everything, and they use an IP address that is not where you're at, right? They use a secure VPN server.
Do you remember at one point, I think it was in the first Mission Impossible, and they're dressed as the firemen, and that one guy who's eventually sent to Alaska says, "Where is the call coming from?" And it's in Sweden. It's over here. It's over here. That's what a VPN does.
Yeah, they're using the VPN, so they're not going to know exactly where you are. They're not going to be able to see your data. They're going to encrypt your network to make sure that you are not compromised. ExpressVPN is not going to make your devices lag. You can use it on your phone, your computer, whatever you need, so your whole family can stay safe with a single subscription. You got to go to expressvpn.com/Y. You will get 3 months for free if you go to expressvpn.com/Y. That is WHY. expressvpn.com/Y. Of course, we covered yesterday that Texas has decided to not only remove their mask mandate, the statewide mask mandate, but also Greg Abbott just said, just like that, businesses can open 100%, no restrictions, all entities, all businesses can open. The Biden administration was asked about both Texas and Mississippi's decision to drop these mask mandates to eliminate the restrictions on businesses. And here is what Joe Biden had to say.
Message to Texas and Mississippi. Texas and Mississippi.
I think it's a big mistake. Look, I hope everybody's realized by now, these masks make a difference. We are on the cusp of being able to fundamentally change the nature of this disease because of the way in which we're able to get vaccines in people's arms. We've been able to move that all the way up to the end of May to have enough for every American, to get every adult American to get a shot. And the last thing we need is the Neanderthal thinking that in the meantime everything's fine, take off your mask, forget it.
Neanderthal thinking, according to Joe Biden, is what you get when you say, you know what? I'm going to just believe that you guys should be personally responsible for yourselves.
Well, if he means Neanderthal into kind of like old thinking, the man who just put wallpaper on the wall of the Oval Office and can barely stitch 2 words together because he's a little senile might know something about old thinking. Yeah. It's ridiculous. We didn't know things at the beginning. We do know things now. They've gone back and forth. You know, Florida has dropped the mask mandate a long time ago. They're doing fine.
California is not doing any better than them, and they have
California's
the strictest,
doing worse.
Yeah, the strictest mask mandates in the nation.
Give it a rest, Joe. Shut up.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've got to play the party line, right? That's the thing. It's in the words of Freddie Mercury, you know, the lyric, "Anyway the wind blows, doesn't really matter to me." They just put their finger in the air, whichever way the wind's blowing, that's where they've got to go. Right now, the winds are blowing towards controlling people. They want to manipulate people. They totally prepared us for a Zoom call president, which is what Joe Biden is. They put us all in isolation. They masked us up. They made us quit meeting with people. We can't socialize. We can't go out. We can't do business. Now we're totally okay with the idea that there's no State of the Union. Joe Biden doesn't have to go meet with world leaders. They don't come to him. They just get on the Zoom call, and that's the way we handle it. He can put a lid on things at 9 a.m. It's all about the control. So they have to keep that narrative up in order to keep that charade going, because this is one big puppet show, and Joe is the guy that they're having to prop up with the marionette strings. That's what's going on.
Well, it was interesting to see the day after Texas announces this, the CDC, who has just recently said, yeah, we know that you got vaccinated, but you still really can't gather indoors. Or,
Fauci said the same thing.
They just
Well, then why
said
am I
that.
getting vaccinated?
Well, right.
Why would I ever get vaccinated if my life doesn't change?
Yeah, no, I know. But so right after Texas and Mississippi announced this, the next day the CDC says, oh, okay, you can gather indoors if you've had the vaccine.
Screw you. I'm going to gather indoors, outdoors, restaurants. You know, I mean, I'm sure you're going to massage parlors and spas.
Of course. I like a hands-on experience.
Right.
You know, one thing I like about, so when we do this show, we're sitting here, we used to have 4 people on this show, right? We went down to 3 because, you know, we're at the 1-year anniversary of the 2-week lockdown. So here we are. We're not sitting 12 feet apart from each other, having a conversation.
And wearing a mask.
And wearing masks.
I've been to the Oval Office.
He's so far
he
away.
is so far away from those cameras, and he's still wearing a stupid
It's
mask.
theater. Go back to the point earlier. It's theater.
No, well, actually, he's old and infirm with many complications, so he should wear.
Well,
He should wear a mask.
He should wear.
He's waiting to
why
get to
stop
his
it?
Mario
Why
Kart so he
stop
can
at
work
one?
his cognitive, disability out.
Well, so what was going through your mind when Abbott made the announcement yesterday, and you heard him give us permission to live our own lives and make our own choices and open up our businesses, and people went, yes. And I'm like, why are you clapping?
Right, it should have never existed,
No.
okay? You treat people like responsible adults.
Yeah.
You trust them to live their own lives. You give them liberty. You expect them to take personal responsibility. Most are going to do that. Some are not going to do that. There's consequences involved, and you go forward with that. But here is a politician who created a crisis, made a big mandate, which was unconstitutional, and now he shows up like the big hero, and he's going to end the crisis that he created. This is typical politics.
Which, as
That's
Glenn
exactly
pointed out,
what he did.
strategically, it was right after a huge error.
Right, and so that's what they're going to do. It gets the attention. Now everybody's praising him. People's heads are exploding. But here's the thing: the beauty of Texans is this: they walk a little taller, and they have a pride about them, and they don't easily forget when you treat them like children. There is a humble arrogance about the average Texan. We live a little bit larger here. We think a little bit bigger. There is a whole lot of moxie, if you will, in the citizens of this state, and they're not going to look at a guy who's going to sit there and give you permission to go out and be free. They don't like that, and they don't like it now. So now he's created a whole lot of stuff. He's put a target on businesses. You're going to have folks out there who run a business, run a restaurant, whatever, and they're going to say, we're going to continue to make our employees wear masks. And now the average citizen is going to say, well, guess what? We're not going to go to your business. We're going to go someplace that doesn't require masks. So it's going to put a target on a lot of those businesses. They're going to lose business. What about the businesses that have already been shut down? What about the venues? What about the theaters? What about the restaurants that'll never come back because of this created crisis? And now that we know more than we know, or knew at the time, it's too late. It's too late. What are we going to do with the depressed people? What are we going to do with folks that are with PTS who weren't able to go into face-to-face counseling that are veterans? What are we going to do with the suicides of our youth and the skyrocketing and the folks in nursing homes who still can't get visits? These are issues that are out there. We see New York, we see California. They are a cautionary tale of what happens when you put people under your thumb.
Yeah.
And Texas is just not wired that way. Greg Abbott's kind of,
I thought Greg was going to be great.
I thought Greg was going to be great.
He was great for a while.
He was.
Like
I thought Greg was going to be fantastic. I thought he was going to be a good change for Texas after Rick Perry was gone. I thought it was going to be good. I applauded the man. I was thankful for the man. I don't think he's a
bad
guy.
Not at all.
But I think he's whatever, whether you want to call it bought out or again, I go back to the winds of change and you just don't even care. You're just going to go whichever political direction you're being blown at this time. And the thing is, Greg Abbott's never been challenged by another conservative ever. Even when he was Attorney General, he's never really been challenged.
Yeah.
And now you have all these good, solid political voices that are rising up and saying, no more Greg Abbott. I mean, there's people in Texas politics, and I won't name the names, but there's some pretty high up people who are saying, Abbott's got to go.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Every time I am in a room with a bunch of Texas power players, that's the number one topic.
And the donors, the people who fund this thing,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
they're sick of it.
They are pissed and done.
Yeah. Before we go, I want to get your reaction to just kind of the left-wing talking point. We heard it from Keith Olbermann. I saw it from Michael Moore as well.
Keith Olbermann's still alive?
He is. Isn't that shocking?
Wow.
But you've been hearing this in the media. Why are we wasting, this is Keith Olbermann's tweet, why are we wasting vaccinations on Texas if Texas has decided to join the side of the virus? Like,
well, Keith, let me ask you this. Maybe you should send the vaccinations down to Texas because your president is releasing a gigantic population that 6% of them verifiably have the virus.
Yeah.
You don't seem to have a problem with that at all. Yeah. Shut the pie hole, Keith Olbermann.
Yeah, and they're not just going to stop in Texas. They're going to keep on migrating north and east and west
Hopefully.
and get all over. I mean, a lot of them are going to stick right here.
Don't
and
stop
you know
here.
What? You want to talk about what you said earlier, where people start banding together because they're starting to see a common enemy that's there. You look at the folks down in the Rio Grande Valley. The citizens of Texas that are living in the Rio Grande Valley, they're getting hosed, man.
Yep.
They're the ones who are catching the brunt of all of this thing, and these are tax-paying, hard-working citizens that are down there, most of which are Hispanics.
I was just going to say, most of which are not white.
And they are pissed at what's going on, not only with the immigration issue and the illegal issue, but now they're being compounded with the COVID issue, and they're the ones, they're right on the front line, and we're using them like cannon fodder.
And remember, Mexico had the worst coronavirus response anywhere. They still do. They're not all wearing masks down there. That's not what's going on. And they're coming across the border, and our government doesn't seem to care. Totally. So I guess I don't really care that much.
Yeah. All right, we've got more to come. Stay tuned. Back in a minute.
More kids coming across the head
there. Did you? President Joe Biden and the Senate Democrats have apparently reached a new deal that will further restrict how many people qualify to get this not the $2,000 check. Now the $1,400 stimulus check that are expected to go out if this American Rescue Plan. God, I love that name. They always come up with the cutest little messaging that is actually totally contrary to what they're doing. So they said every American who filed individually and makes up to $75,000 will still get the full amount before it begins to reduce at incomes above that. But rather than zeroing out at $100,000 earnings, it will cut off payments at $80,000. And then the same kind of thing you see for couples filing jointly. It's going to cut off payments at $160,000 in earnings. It's interesting because they cut, $2,000. We were told explicitly by Joe Biden, if you guys get out in Georgia, we can get $2,000 checks. I will get you $2,000 checks. And then he's like, no, I didn't mean the $2,000. I meant you add up the two and it equals 2,000, duh. And now we see them further restrict. You have to wonder how many people out there are going, okay, all right, but he said he was going to do this. Wait. Okay, crap, he's not doing this either.
Tell me what $2,000 does over what? A year?
Absolutely nothing.
What does that mean? Absolutely Are you kidding me? If I can't pay my rent with $2,000, I can't pay my electric bills with $2,000. What are you talking about? $2,000. It's been a year, Jack. It's been a year. Yeah. You bailed out every one of these effing banks. Every single one of them have gotten money. Wall Street is going through the roof. The rich are getting richer right now. And you're giving the people, well, let me have a crumb. Just sweep it down on the floor from your banquet. That is grotesque. Grotesque.
That's a great way of putting it, too, because it is crumbs from the table when you consider all the other crap they put in that $1.9 trillion deal.
$1.9 trillion. Yeah. Now, if that was going to the small businesses, people who have lost their business because the government said you can't operate. Mm-hmm. If you were going to take $1.9 trillion, I wouldn't like it, but it would be just because it wasn't their choice to go out of business. Right. It was the government. If there was ever a case for a class action lawsuit against the United States government, it's this. Mm-hmm. If there's ever a reason for the government to go bankrupt, it's this. Mm-hmm. They should go bankrupt. They should have to put all of the assets on the table and not give it to the people that they've been giving it to for the last 12 years, but give it to the moms and the pops all across this country that have struggled and sweated and done everything they could to live a decent, honorable life and work hard and finally get something, have something, only to have it all destroyed by the government. Screw you. Screw you.
Yeah, but we can fund transgender studies in Pakistan with this deal. So,
yeah, I mean, you have to think that the average American who, let's say the average middle-class American who voted for Biden because they didn't like Trump's tweets, they're looking at this, and I can't imagine that they don't see this as a total slap in the face.
Well, not when you can. With that amount of money, you could give every American $20,000. You give everybody 3 months' salary, right, and just get them through the deal. And at the end of 3 months, you say, "Look, it's do or die at this point. Let's get this thing done." Give them 3 months to go totally locked down and shut down and wear the masks. At the end of 100 days, either it's been flattened or it hasn't been flattened. Right. Either the masks worked or they didn't work, right? I mean, that was what Joe Biden was saying during the election cycle was, I'm going to do 100 days of mask mandates, possibly. And, well, okay, at the end of it, did it work or did it not work? Either way, the masks come off.
Yeah.
Doesn't work, take the mask off.
Yeah.
It works, take the mask off.
All right, really quickly before we have to go, Andrew Cuomo, he came out today, gave a press conference after, of course, this a bunch of multiple sexual assault, sexual harassment allegations have come out. He denied touching anyone inappropriately. He said he is embarrassed. And but I want to talk about part of his statement where he said, that's just the way I greet people. I kiss them, I hug them.
Joe Biden said the same thing.
My dad.
I'm a hugger.
Dahmer.
Okay.
It's just the way
it's just the way I eat people.
It's just the way I eat people.
Right.
I keep their heads in my refrigerator. What? So I'm different than you. What?
It's what my dad did. All right.
Right.
We have a tradition of being
Hey,
very
listen,
inappropriate
my whole
with people.
family's been pigs. Huh?
So let's listen to Andrew Cuomo talking about this. We kiss a bunch of people. It's no big deal. Watch.
On the pictures, Marcia, I understand the opinion of and feelings of Ms. Ruhr. And you are right. You can find hundreds of pictures of me making the same gesture with hundreds of people, women, men, children, etc. You can go find hundreds of pictures of me kissing people, men, women. It is my usual and customary way of greeting. You know that because you've watched me for, let's just say, more years than we care to remember. By the way, it was my father's way of greeting people. You're the governor of the state. You want people to feel comfortable. You want to reach out to them. I do it. I kiss and hug legislators. I was at an event in Queens the other day. Hugged the pastors and the assembly members who were there. So that is my way to do that.
So, New Yorkers, you guys are still shut down because of COVID. All right, it's so dangerous. It's so scary. The governor is still out there just the other day kissing and hugging people.
I'm the governor. My father. We put our mouths on people when they see them. That's what we do.
This is a very serious virus.
Look, everybody's saying there should be a probe. That's what I was saying to her.
Yeah.
I'd like to probe you.
I wanna be like an alien and let's diddle something. Eat the whole sausage.
Oh my God.
I mean, this is just
You
so
came
much
up
to
and said
unpack
hello
there.
to me today, and I put my mouth all over your face. I mean, that's how stupid that is.
Well, here's why this is totally unacceptable for anyone on the left to accept. That's what a lot of people have been saying. Look, that's just my way of greeting. Well, it's outdated. It's wrong. Stop it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now he comes out like it's a new idea. Look, everybody knows me, eh? So I wanted a little ba-bang. That's the way I say hello.
by the way, it was my dad. My dad started it.
Right, my dad.
Come on.
He's got children all over the state. What? What's
There's
the
little
problem?
Cuomos everywhere.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think he's ever gonna? Is he gonna like really face
He's done.
his day? Do you think he is?
I do.
I mean, he should be done for the nursing home scandal. I think everyone knows that, and they realize
this is
it, but
a
they can't go back
smokescreen
and
for
say
that.
Yes.
Right? They can't go back and say, "Well, we helped cover this, so now they've got to."
So you called me a Cuomo apologist the other day because most of these things that are coming out are so benign and stupid and just like, good Lord, sign me up on the same list. I've said plenty of dumb stuff. I mean, if that's what we're going to do, that's not true sexual harassment. Sexual harassment is what Joe Biden supposedly did to Tara Reid.
Sexual assault.
That's assault. I mean, and you say harassment. I mean, you know, whether you, I'm just making a joke, you know, this is how I greet people,
really,
that kind of thing.
Comes down to whether or not the woman
but
likes
at the
the
same
guy.
time, it's inappropriate.
Yeah.
It's not appropriate. You're right. It's an antiquated way. I mean, it wasn't right for George H.W. Bush to pinch a girl on the rear end and smack her or whatever.
Oh my gosh, he was like 100 million
yeah,
years old, though.
And I'm not excusing that.
Yeah.
I'm just making the point that you can't just sweep everything under the rug. But at the same time, what he's done with these nursing homes is so far greater.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking.
Yeah, but you can't. You're not going to nail him on that because everybody was involved. Everybody praised him. Everybody was covering him. So they can't do that.
So they have to do this.
They have to do this.
Yeah.
This is what unifies the left. It's the whole Me Too harassment, all of that. That is the unpardonable sin in this day and age for the left.
He wasn't so wounded with the nursing home scandal, this wouldn't have taken him down. They just would have moved on from it.
Moved on.
But you know, there's two things at play here with Cuomo. One, he's pissed everybody off. Everybody. He is a bully. And, you know, it's kind of like Valkyrie. Yeah, did you wound Hitler or did you kill him? Once they think he's dead, once momentum starts to roll on this, every enemy he's ever made is like, get rid of him. They stay back when they don't think he's going to be dead.
Right.
So I think that's just beginning to dawn on people that there's a chance to take him out right now. But the other thing is, it's not just his problems and his meanness. There's also an agenda to put even more radical people in than Cuomo. The left is not going to look and say, let's get somebody a little more moderate.
Right.
Governor Ocasio-Cortez.
Yeah.
Well, that rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
All right, we got to take a break. Back in a minute.
Dog.
The Universal Islands of Adventure theme park in Orlando is reportedly looking into their, I can't believe they had this, really, Dr. Seuss themed kids area.
As they
Can you believe
should.
a bunch of white supremacists over here at Universal.
As they
now,
should.
yes, now all of a sudden they have to look into the Dr. Seuss themed area. It includes, if I may just really quickly, there's a part that is themed after If I Ran the Zoo, which, as we know, is one of the more problematic books, along with Mulberry Street's store.
If anybody has those books, please send them to the Mercury One Library.
Yes.
We tried to go out and buy them for the library. They're all
gone.
They're all gone.
Yeah.
They're all gone.
I'm going to be rich one day because I've got Mr. Potato Heads never taken out of the box. I've got them all. I've got Monopoly. When capitalism is a thing of the past, I'm going to sell those things mint, still in the plastic. The same with Dr. Seuss books.
I did go through my Dr. Seuss books. I was like, maybe I have some of these. Didn't. I used to have If I Ran the Zoo.
I'm stocking up on all this stuff that everybody hates.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Operation game, which that guy was awake, by the way. His eyes are open. But you know what? Free health care, we're not getting it. Operation game, that's offensive. Hungry Hippo is fat shaming.
See, you're making these jokes, but it's not.
It's real.
It's real.
It's where we're at.
It really could happen.
The only game
Really
that'll last.
could happen. It
You
is.
know the only game that'll last? Sorry. Because you got to apologize for everything.
Yeah.
That's the only game that's going to make it. I'm telling you, this is where we're living.
Glenn, you really, no one is going to be able to find Dr. Seuss books, you think?
No, I think we're at the beginning of a purge of American culture. It's happened before. It will happen again. Hopefully it doesn't happen to this country, but I think we're beginning to see it. And unless people stand up, you know, it's last year I started collecting American art and American pieces because I feel like, did you guys see what was that Netflix show where the Nazis won?
Yeah, the Man in the High Castle.
I kind of feel like that Weasel guy that, you know, had the store of all the American history. At some point, it's going to come back. At some point, people will miss this. And it's just like in the 1930s when, you know, the fascist said, this art is ugly and debasing, and so we're going to burn it all. You had a piece of that art that wasn't burned, that's worth a lot of money. You know, there was it PolitiFact or somebody was questioning me today. I was trending for a while. That's never good. Trending for a while because I said, this is book burning. This is fascism. Yeah. And they, of course, corrected me in saying it's not fascism because these are just private companies making the decision not to print the book. No, no, no. No, this is a mob that is hysterical, that is pressuring companies, and even if these companies are doing it, it's also being taken out of schools and libraries. That is fascism. So don't tell me you're an anti-fascist. You are a fascist by book burning, by saying what people can and cannot read. There's nothing more fascistic. I mean, book burning, telling people take that out of the library. That's about the tippy
book burning.
Yeah, it's the tippy top of the list of things fascists do.
Yeah. And the thing people need to remember, they need to go back and study a little history of who Dr. Seuss was.
He was a Marxist.
And well, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, here was a guy who used his art to speak out against Hitler.
Yeah.
He used his art to defend the Jews. So there's you know, look, I don't know that much about Dr. Seuss. I never liked Dr. Seuss growing up. I never understood him. As I got older, Yertle the Turtle and things like that, I was reading and I'm like, this is really brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff. And now that I like him, now he's unpopular. I can't win. I can never win.
Well, spoken like a true white supremacist, Glenn.
Glenn, the places you'll go.
I know,
the places you'll go.
Oh, the things that we can ban.
But if you look at that Yertle the Turtle, I mean, that right there is a euphemism for Hitler. And I mean, there's so much genius that's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we got to take a break. Back in a minute.
Start collecting books.
Especially Mark Twain.
Hey, don't forget to go to wherever you get your audio podcasts. Subscribe, rate, and review the news and why it matters. It will help more people find it. And also, you may see your review read live on air. We got one
fantastic.
Today. You will love this one, I think, Glenn. We got one today from Trained Capitalist, who said, Sarah, tell Glenn you deserve a raise. Your show is entertaining in a fun and informative way. Love all the guests. I've been watching the show for a while now and have never seen a guest or an episode I did not like. Thanks for doing your job so incredibly well, Blaze Junkie. I mean, I think
so
trained
that's
capitalist.
Trained capitalist. So he's using the capitalist system. That's great. Now let's see how many people want your job and would do it cheaper.
No, wait. I take it all back.
By the way, I am not involved in anybody's salary. I think everybody here deserves a lot.
Should be making $1 million trillion.
$1 trillion.
We can just print more.
Absolutely. Why not?
He's probably got Gutenberg's press around here somewhere. We can
just make them.
Just print more. By the way, don't forget, you got to tune in to Glenn's Wednesday night special tonight. It is at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. As he said earlier, you're not going to want to miss it. Glenn, we've got about 30 more seconds if you want to.
Yeah, it's important that you watch it. It's important that you don't get distracted by conspiracy theories or anything else. This is not a conspiracy. This is actually happening. We show you all the original sources, where the quotes come from, and share it with a friend. This has to spread quickly if we're going to stop or slow this down, we have to be informed, and a lot of people have to be informed. So help us.
You can you can catch it on YouTube. You can catch it on BlazeTV.com.
Pluto.
Wherever, you just make sure that you catch it.